Welcome back to our channel. Have you ever felt that nagging suspicion that someone might be using you in your relationship? In today's video, we dive deep into the 9 signs someone is using you in a relationship. Understanding these signs can help you protect your emotional well-being and set healthier boundaries. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell to get notified about our upcoming videos, where we explore more topics that matter to you. So, without further ado, let's get started on recognizing the signs that someone might be using you. Lack of reciprocity. You know, when you find yourself constantly reaching out for help, while your friend seems to barely lift a finger, it can be incredibly frustrating, almost as if you're stuck in a one-sided relationship. This lack of reciprocity can really take a toll on you emotionally, right? You're the one making plans, checking in, and offering support, while they seem to glide along without a care in the world. It's pretty disheartening to realize that your emotional investment isn't being reciprocated. Dr. John Gottman, a well-known psychologist and relationship expert, emphasizes that healthy relationships thrive on mutual support and shared effort. He points out that both friends should contribute equally to foster a sense of connection and balance. So, when you're pouring your heart into a friendship that feels one-sided, it can lead to feelings of resentment and emotional exhaustion. You might even start questioning your worth in the relationship. Why does it always fall on you to reach out? Renowned author Brené Brown discusses the importance of vulnerability and connection in her work. She suggests that true friendship involves a give and take, where both individuals feel valued and appreciated. When you're the only one putting in the effort, it can leave you feeling unappreciated, as if your contributions are invisible. You deserve a friend who recognizes and reciprocates your support, not someone who only shows up when it suits them. Philosopher Alain de Botton touches on the idea that relationships should enhance our lives rather than drain us. He argues that we should prioritize connections that uplift and inspire us. So if you're noticing signs that your friendship might not be as genuine as you'd like, don't ignore them. Instead, take a step back and evaluate whether this relationship aligns with your needs. Remember, you deserve connections that make you feel valued and supported rather than just used. Self-serving behavior. Self-serving behavior can really complicate friendships, turning what should be a supportive relationship into a one-sided transaction. Think about it. Have you ever had a friend who only reaches out when they need something? It leaves you feeling used and unappreciated. Dr. John Gottman emphasizes the importance of emotional bids in relationships, stating that friendships thrive on mutual responsiveness. When one party consistently ignores the other's needs, it creates a significant imbalance. Then there are the manipulative tactics that may come into play. Dr. Brené Brown discusses how using guilt or gaslighting undermines trust, keeping you in a position where you feel obligated to cater to their whims, which is anything but healthy. Philosopher Martin Buber argues that genuine connections should be about mutual respect and reciprocity, not merely a means to an end. When a friendship starts to feel like a series of exchanges rather than a nurturing bond, something is off. Lastly, let's talk about the emotional drain that often accompanies self-serving friendships. When you find yourself feeling exhausted and resentful, it's a clear indicator that the relationship is taking a toll on your well-being. Dr. Kristin Neff highlights the importance of self-compassion, reminding us that we deserve relationships that uplift us, not deplete us. Recognizing these patterns can be tough, but it's crucial to understand that healthy relationships are built on mutual respect and care. If you're consistently feeling like you're just a pawn in someone else's game, it might be time to reassess the dynamics at play and consider what you truly need from your friendships. Everyone deserves to feel valued and appreciated in their relationships. Disregard for boundaries. Disregarding boundaries can really feel like an invasion, can't it? It's tough to carve out your personal space and time in a relationship when someone just doesn't respect your limits. Imagine it's like they're barging into your life without even considering how you feel. As Dr. Brené Brown, a well-known researcher on vulnerability and empathy, points out, daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves, even when we risk disappointing others. This idea really resonates when you think about how important it is to protect your own emotional well-being. When someone continually interrupts you or brushes aside your need for privacy, it can feel exhausting. You might find yourself pressured into commitments or favors even after expressing that you need some space. According to psychologist Dr. Harriet Lerner, boundaries are a vital part of self-care. They are a way of taking care of ourselves. It's frustrating when the other person shows little to no remorse for overstepping, treating your boundaries as mere obstacles to their desires. This can leave you feeling resentful and drained, undermining any trust you may have built. In a healthy relationship, offering support should be paired with a genuine respect for each other's limits. Dr. John Gottman, a leading relationship expert, emphasizes that respect is one of the key components of a lasting relationship. When someone disregards boundaries, it often signals that they're more focused on their own needs than on your well-being. Conditional affection. Conditional affection can feel like a roller coaster, can't it? One moment you're on a high with warmth and support, and the next, it vanishes when you don't meet someone's needs. This makes you question your worth, feeling valued only for what you provide. It can really affect your mental health, leaving you vulnerable and insecure. Dr. Brené Brown says, "Connection is why we're here. It gives purpose and meaning to our lives." When affection is conditional, it feels shaky, focused on what you can do rather than who you are. Signs of conditional affection include inconsistent support. They're there when they need something, but disappear otherwise. Dr. Harriet Lerner highlights the importance of reciprocity in relationships. Manipulative praise. Compliments feel like bait. Dr. John Gottman warns, this disrupts genuine connection. Emotional withdrawal. They pull back affection when you can't meet their expectations. Alain de Botton notes this leads to feeling inadequate. Conditional love. Their affection is tied to your utility. Marshall Rosenberg advises expressing needs without conditions. Recognizing this is key to setting boundaries and protecting your emotional health. Maya Angelou said, "You alone are enough. You deserve relationships that uplift you. Don't let this toxic dynamic hold you back. Prioritize your well-being and seek connections that celebrate your true self." Lack of genuine interest. Navigating a relationship with someone who lacks genuine interest can be incredibly frustrating, almost like talking to a brick wall. Imagine sharing a personal story, hoping for a connection, only to be met with a shrug or an abrupt shift back to their own life's drama. It's disheartening, isn't it? Dr. John Gottman emphasizes that healthy relationships thrive on mutual understanding and emotional connection. When those elements are missing, you end up feeling unheard and undervalued. You might notice their questions seem more like a way to redirect the conversation back to themselves rather than a genuine inquiry into your life. This leads to a sense of disconnect, as if you're talking into a void. Dr. Harriet Lerner highlights that a lack of genuine curiosity often translates to emotional neglect, which can be damaging in the long run. Every time you share something meaningful, a dismissive response can make you feel like your feelings don't matter. This emotional misalignment creates an emptiness in the relationship, leading to lingering negative feelings. You deserve a partner who not only listens, but also values your input. Alain de Botton points out that relationships should be about mutual respect and understanding, not one person monopolizing the conversation. When you're consistently pouring your heart out to someone who doesn't reciprocate, it can be utterly exhausting. Brené Brown notes that genuine connections are built on vulnerability and mutual investment. Without that balance, you're left feeling unfulfilled and emotionally drained. It's crucial to recognize this lack of genuine interest and evaluate whether this relationship is truly worth your time and energy. After all, you deserve to be in a connection where both sides are engaged and invested. Avoidance of responsibility. Have you ever noticed how some people struggle to take responsibility for their mistakes in a relationship? It's incredibly frustrating, isn't it? This tendency to avoid accountability often reveals a deeper issue, a lack of genuine connection and respect. Dr. John Gottman points out that defensiveness is one of the 4 horsemen of relationship breakdowns. When someone can't own up to their actions, it signals that they're more focused on their own needs rather than nurturing a meaningful bond. Here are some common behaviors that highlight this avoidance of responsibility. Deflecting blame. It's like a game of hot potato. When something goes wrong, they're quick to point fingers at others. Dr. Harriet Lerner notes that shifting blame erodes trust and hinders healthy communication. Minimizing their actions. You might hear phrases like, "It's not that big of a deal." Brené Brown emphasizes that downplaying actions diminishes their impact, creating lasting emotional wounds. Avoiding tough conversations. Some dodge discussions that could lead to accountability, preferring to keep things light and superficial. Dr. Laura Berman suggests that avoiding these conversations leads to unresolved issues that fester over time. Creating emotional fatigue. You may find yourself constantly managing the emotional load while they glide through without consequences. Esther Perel describes this as emotional labor, which can be exhausting and damaging to your well-being. When you're always carrying the weight of the relationship, frustration builds. It's essential to recognize these patterns and prioritize your emotional health. Remember, as Aristotle wisely noted, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. Understanding your needs and boundaries helps navigate these challenging dynamics more effectively. Emotional exploitation. Emotional exploitation often sneaks into relationships like a shadow, and before you know it, you're feeling drained and questioning your self-worth. It's a subtle process where you constantly adjust your feelings to cater to someone else's needs, only to feel like your efforts are never enough. Dr. Ramani Durvasula, a clinical psychologist and expert on narcissism, emphasizes that this often involves manipulation techniques like gaslighting, making you doubt your perceptions and reality. Moreover, guilt-tripping can turn your kindness into a tool against you. Brené Brown notes that when someone uses guilt to manipulate you, it creates a cycle where you feel responsible for their emotions, leading to a toxic environment where you feel compelled to please, ultimately leaving you devalued and anxious. You deserve genuine connections where affection isn't conditional. With an emotional exploiter, love often feels given only when it suits their agenda. Dr. John Gottman points out that healthy relationships should be based on mutual respect and trust, not manipulation. When your emotional capacity is being pushed to the edge, it's vital to recognize these patterns early on. Setting boundaries isn't just a good idea, it's essential for your emotional health. Psychologist Harriet Lerner highlights that clear limits protect your well-being and signal that you value yourself. When you assertively say no to unreasonable demands or refuse to be swayed by guilt, you are reclaiming your power. Superficial connection. Superficial connections can feel like you're gliding through conversations that barely scratch the surface, leaving you craving something deeper and more meaningful. Imagine engaging in trivial discussions while the other person rarely inquires about your life. This is a hallmark of a superficial relationship. Dr. Susan Pinker notes, "True connections are built on mutual understanding and vulnerability, not just surface-level exchanges." Here are some signs you might be stuck in a superficial connection. Lack of vulnerability. They shy away from deep discussions. Brené Brown emphasizes that vulnerability is essential for true connection. Without it, relationships feel shallow and unfulfilling. One-sided interactions. If your conversations feel one-sided, with them only reaching out when they need something, you might be dealing with a transactional relationship. Alain de Botton suggests that relationships should foster emotional growth and support. Disinterest in your life. When they don't show interest in your experiences, it signifies a lack of genuine care. Tony Robbins puts it, "The quality of your life is the quality of your relationships." If they don't show interest in who you are, it can leave you feeling undervalued. Conversations centered on their needs. If discussions frequently circle back to their desires, disregarding your feelings, it emphasizes a self-centered dynamic. John Gottman explains that successful relationships hinge on mutual respect and understanding. When these dynamics unfold, it's easy to feel overlooked and unappreciated. A relationship based solely on utility can feel hollow, leaving you yearning for a connection with someone who genuinely cares about you. Remember, as Martin Buber articulated, meaningful connections arise from shared experiences and mutual support, not from shallow exchanges. So, if you find yourself navigating these superficial waters, it might be time to seek deeper connections that nourish your soul. Inconsistent support. Inconsistent support can often feel like an emotional roller coaster, can't it? You know that feeling when you need someone during tough times, but they only show up when it suits them? It's like they're there for the good times, parties or celebrations, but disappear during significant challenges. This selective engagement is frustrating and heartbreaking. Dr. John Gottman explains that successful relationships thrive on mutual support and emotional attunement. When one partner consistently drops the ball, it creates an imbalance that fosters resentment. You deserve a companion who stands by you through thick and thin, not just during their highlight reel. The absence of reliable support leads to emotional distress, making you feel isolated when you need companionship the most. Moreover, Dr. Laura Berman emphasizes that recognizing these patterns is essential. If your friend or partner seems more interested in what you can provide rather than offering genuine care and support, it's a significant red flag. You deserve relationships where support flows both ways, not one that feels like a one-sided deal. Philosophically, the ancient Greek concept of philia, or brotherly love, highlights the importance of mutual benefit and support within our relationships. Friendships and partnerships should enrich our lives, not leave us feeling drained or unvalued. In conclusion, recognizing the signs that someone is using you in a relationship is crucial for your emotional well-being. From lack of reciprocity and self-serving behavior to disregard for boundaries, conditional affection, lack of genuine interest, avoidance of responsibility, emotional exploitation, superficial connections, and inconsistent support, these red flags can help you identify unhealthy dynamics. Thank you for watching our video. If you found this information helpful, please like, comment, and share it with your friends and family so they can also benefit from these insights. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to stay updated with more valuable content. See you in the next video.